Good morning, all. We'll go ahead and start. Finance Committee had bid openings, so they'll come along in due course. Please silence your phones if you would, or anything else that might make noise. We'll begin with the invocation by Commissioner Harrison. Since Commissioner Scott's not here, Commissioner Rajerick, would you do the pledge? Please join us if you wish.
Please join with me. We gather together here today, intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. Please give us the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and righteousness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in our lives and joy in our tasks. Let us also remember those who are no longer with us, our servicemen and women, and our emergency responders. And also, please let us have the patience to listen to others. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Michael?
Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell,
Here.
Curran,
Here.
Freeling, Harrison,
Here.
Hinkleman, Majerick,
Here.
Meeks, Scott, Ballraff,
Here.
Werfel, here, Yarborough, Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 8 present, 4 absent.
Thank you. We have a quorum. We'll proceed. Minutes from the 27th of January. Haven't heard about any changes to those. A motion to approve is in order, moved by Meeks. Is there support? Supported by Majerick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, I understand we have 4 or 5 communications.
Yes, you have 5 communications that were sent to you. The first one's from Steve Salisbury, President of the Baroda Area Business Association, advocating for rural broadband connectivity for their area, received on January 26th. Leelanau County Board of Commissioners, a resolution supporting the Community Mental Health Authority and opposing current state legislation to change the CMHA, received on January 27th. Christopher PFAHLER from St. Joseph, sharing a panel discussion in the U.S. Senate on COVID-19, a second opinion, received on January 28th. Ashley Regal, Buchanan Chamber Executive Director, Main Street Manager, requesting a letter of support for the Buchanan City Grant from Michigan DNR to support the extension of McCoy Creek Trail, received on February 2nd. State Senator Kim Lasada supporting the Orinoco Township Grant application to expand broadband, dated February 1st. That's all.
Thank you. Public comments are in order for resolutions. Resolutions on the agenda, and that would include the added resolutions 2018, 2195, 2196, and 2198. Any comments about the resolutions on the agenda? Hearing none, the consent calendar with the added resolutions is ready for approval. Is there a motion? Moved by Vorath, and that includes the added resolutions. Okay, is there support? Supported by Harrison. Is there discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I need to abstain from A2202161 out of the abundance of caution.
Okay. All right, very good. Anything else? If there's no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Curran,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Meeks, Ballraff,
Yes.
Werfel,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 8 ayes.
thank you. Sheriff, according to my agenda, we have a canine retirement.
We do.
Deputy Jason Haskins is here with Micah. Micah has served us well for 6 years and yeah, it's still working. Yeah. And
That could be a.
Micah's going to retire and Jason and his family is going to take care of him for the rest of his life. And I'll let Jason explain a little about what the dog's done for us.
So Mika's been a very good asset to the county. She's had numerous drug fines, found 2 lost kids down in the South County area in her career, and has done many tracks for bad guys. So she's done many school projects with kids, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you name it, she's done it. So we appreciate the continued support from the county commissioners and Sheriff Bailey, and we hope that the other guys going forward will have as much success as she did.
So Deputy Haskins is retiring too from being a canine handler, and he has been transferred to another division, and Matt Grimm is going to be the new deputy assigned with a new dog.
I've been very fortunate. I've had a dog with the county since 2008. So this is my second dog, and time for some of the younger guys to have it. Yeah.
Is Mika the dog that needed the orthopedic surgery on the, what would be like our kneecaps, or, patella,
She had a torn ACL.
ACL, okay.
But she came when COVID came right then. She was scheduled for surgery at Michigan State. And when COVID came, they canceled all surgeries.
Oh, wow.
And then she was on like a 6-month kind of hiatus. And I think it healed itself. It had any problems since. So she didn't have to have the surgery, and it worked out well. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very much.
And thank you, Mika.
Can we snap a picture of the transfer of
We can, yeah, go right out here.
the, come on, back together?
Right out.
I,
Yeah.
Get right in front of you guys, sorry.
where's your Mika?
Mika.
There you go.
Camera shy.
Yeah.
No photos, no autographs.
Come around here and sniff the drugs.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
How old is that? How old? 6.
Okay. That honorary resolution, I believe, was 2196 on our consent calendar, right? For
That is
Mika?
correct.
Okay. Sheriff, while you're here, did you want to mention anything about the village of Galeen and a patrol vehicle?
Yes, it's on the agenda for you guys to approve today. About 10, 11 years ago, we sold them a Crown Vic for $1. That thing is wore out, and I got a call from Chris Palmer, who I put in contact with, well, Matt got in contact with her. And so we have picked out a car that they can receive, and that car is being changed over right now. So if you guys approve the thing today, they will get the car in the next 5 days.
She's the village clerk in Galeen.
Yeah, and this will help them out keeping their part-time police department because they need to do before you buy a new car.
Last time we did this, I tendered payment in an open session to verify that the cost for the village had been covered. So here's another buck.
I'll take it down to the treasurer's office.
I don't need a receipt.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We've got some folks who are coming in on the
honorary resolution.
right, on the honorary resolution. So we'll circle back to that. Why don't we deal with board appointments for finance and PHSC in the meantime? Madam Chair of Finance, you or one of your designated committee members have anything about that? Okay, I believe it's on the back page.
Ezra, we hit the mic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. From the Finance Committee, we had vacancies on our Berrien County Planning Commission. And to fill these vacancies, we looked through the applications and we would like to appoint for a 3-year term, and the term expires December 31st, 2024, Alex Little. And then we have a term that expires on December 31st, 22. We would like to appoint Brian Savage to that, and that is by agreement with our Finance Committee. Thank you.
And you're making that motion.
I make a motion.
Is there support? Moved by Yarborough, supported by Freeling. Any discussion? I think these are full board appointments. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. They are appointed. Mr. Chair of PHS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have an appointment to the Southwest Michigan Regional Planning Council. We typically have one of our members of our planning council serve on that, be our designee. And so we are recommending Gary Wood from the Shoreline District as our appointee. So that I would make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Very good, thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Harrison, supported by Scott. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Wood is appointed to fill that term that expires the end of next year. Let's do requisitions and then we'll get about the business of recognizing Sheila. Anything on requisitions?
We're waiting on, yes.
Is that right?
The requisition resolution is passing around. You guys sign.
Okay. So voice vote. I don't even know if we need a motion for that, if finance has already put, yeah, okay, so okay, then we're all good because we already approved the consent calendar. Okay, we've done board appointments. Are we waiting on some, yeah, to get signed? Yeah, we're almost ready, I think.
Mr. Chair,
Sir,
just so everybody knows, finance was very busy today. I'm taking over, making a statement for the chairman. Today was aggregate bid opening day. I know that you're excited about that, but
We're learning.
we're learning and it's a lot of them. So that's where we're at.
knew you were doing bids.
Oh, yeah.
We just were getting barraged with YouTubers, so we had to go ahead and start the meeting. Not really, but. So,
Fine.
okay, folks, we have approved this as part of the consent calendar, but it merits special attention. And when I started working in Berrien County, Sheila was already there in the clerk's office. So that would be when Hank Kesterkey was the county clerk. And if anyone was ever in Mr. Kesterkey's office, back when it was in the corner on the floor, which is now the prosecutor's office, it was full of elephants.
Yeah.
Little elephants, big elephants, all kinds of elephants, because he was a Republican and he collected elephants. None that were live, but little statues. So after Hank, I think Diane Radewald Bob Brackenridge, Louise Stein, Sharon. And Sheila has been a connecting line for all those years. 1975? Is that, yeah, September 75. And she's 39.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that you started here as such a young child and put in all these years. But no, seriously, she's a mainstay. She's one of the anchors. She's one of the people that makes Berrien County special. And that length of service speaks for itself. So if it's all right, even though we've approved it, I'll read it into the record, Madam Clerk. Resolution honoring Sheila M. Beckman. The Honorable Board of Commissioners of Berrien County, Michigan respectfully recommends the adoption of the following resolution. Whereas Sheila M. Beckman, a lifelong Michigan resident, graduated from Lake Michigan Catholic High School and attended college at Lake Michigan College, and whereas in September of 1975, she was hired as a data entry clerk for the Berrien County Circuit Court file room, and whereas she has maintained her service to the residents of Berrien County since that time, moving up the ranks until becoming the Circuit Court Clerk Manager, where she remains today. And whereas during her tenure, she has served under 5 different county clerks and 35 different judges. And whereas Sheila has consistently received excellent and outstanding marks on evaluations and has proven to be a great asset to the county clerk's office, and whereas Berrien County Clerk Sharon Tyler states that she is a very dedicated employee with an enormous amount of knowledge of the court system and the county clerk's office, all while treating others with kindness and compassion. And whereas the actions of Sheila M. Beckman echo the mission of Berrien County by promoting leadership, cooperation with all units of government, sound fiscal management and planning, thereby promoting public safety, health, well-being, and prosperity in order to improve the quality of life for present and future generations. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Berrien County Board of Commissioners formally recognizes Sheila M. Beckman for 46 years and 4.5 months of dedicated service to the citizens of Berrien County and wishes her a happy, healthy retirement. Be it further resolved that Ms. Beckman's life, actions, and contributions reflect most favorably upon herself, her family, the Berrien County Clerk's Office, the County of Berrien, the State of Michigan, and the United States of America. Respectfully submitted and signed by all members of the Berrien County Board of Commissioners. Congratulations. Sheila, we're going to give you this and then you'll have the podium if you want to say anything. If you don't, that's fine, but
I'd just like to thank everybody.
well, thank you.
Can I say something?
Oh, absolutely.
I was truly blessed to have Sheila in the office when I became. She gave me so much knowledge on the court. She's like family. She's so special that to lose that knowledge, but I know she's a phone call away. I know that I can always count on her. I consider her my family. We found out when I became clerk that we lived in the same neighborhood and that her dad would work on my furnace at home when I was a little girl. And we had ties to the same people, but she's an asset to the county. In today's world, you don't see anybody move up the ladder and become the circuit court manager. She will extremely be missed and we love her dearly in our office. Tomorrow in the jury room, from 2 to 4 and the special presentation at 3. You're all invited to attend. Okay, where do you want us to?
Come right out here in front. One of you on each side There you
Sorry.
You're okay.
All right, it's gonna be kind of anticlimactic at this point, but we'll go to committee reports. Mr. Chair of Admin, would you like to start?
Thank you, Mac. Let's see, this morning we had Carrie Smetanka Haney come in and see us. She requested permission to go through NACO, the National Association of Counties, to provide services for consulting for the juvenile facility. What they're gonna do is they provide consulting for the programming and for facilities, introducing the best practices, the latest in juvenile center designs, those type of things. There's no cost to the county. It's just providing that service. We approved it today, but there will be an authorizing resolution next week. So we went ahead because there's a time frame that has to be in by tomorrow. So we okayed it, and we'll do the authorizing resolution next time we get together. Then we had Jennifer Flick, who is the Assistant 911 Director. Caitlin couldn't be there because apparently one of her kids got COVID. So she's in quarantine. So Jennifer came in her place. She talked to us about the tower grant that we're already aware of. Talked to us about a resolution that will be coming before us next time we get together. And that is a maintenance agreement with Telrad. And I'll explain that when I get to that resolution. Everyone remembers the FEMA grant that the fire departments put in for, and it's to provide portable radios, 800 megahertz radios for all the fire departments. Well, there was a slight error in the application process. It says in the application process, 1 radio, and we were not aware of that. So the various fire departments they could either order a Kenwood radio or a Motorola radio. Well, because the language in the grant says you could only use 1 radio, all the departments who ordered the Motorola radios are more expensive. So the grant came up short. What was it, about 50,000, something like that, $49,000. It came up short. And so what we did is we agreed to split that cost with the Fire Chiefs Association. So in this case, what we have agreed to is to pay $26,700.36 on behalf of the county. The County Fire Chiefs Association will pay a similar amount to cover the other half so that all fire departments can get their radios. It was just a mix up in the wording. It was nobody's fault, I guess, the best way to say it. But to keep that moving forward, we agreed to that. And I'll just remind everyone that by the end of this year, December 31st of 2022, VHF is no longer going to be available. And that's what the fire departments have been using for years as their fire ground frequency. So that's going away. We've been talking about, I think Jeanette Leahy mentioned this when she was here. Dave Volrath has mentioned it. I've mentioned it for years. We've been telling this board and reminding this board that VHF is going away. And some fire departments were a little bit slower than others to get on board. They didn't want to change, but you know, it's going to be here before we know it. So this helps them out and gets that closed out. Um, They have a new platform for the CAD system. They're transitioning over now. She said that is going very well. She talked about the quality assurance supervisor position. Because of a number of factors, and COVID is one of them, they're having staffing difficulties. You know, people being off, not being fully staffed. And so the quality assurance supervisor has been filling in dispatching and call taking duties and not doing her own duties. So she proposed to us that they would like to contract for 1 year with Priority Dispatch. That is a company that the 911 center does business with now, to contract out for 1 year the quality assurance duties that the quality assurance supervisor should be doing. And it's basically just that, quality assurance. I mean, they review calls, they critique the calls, they go over the calls to make sure that the dispatchers and the call takers are doing everything appropriately. It helps in their training. And because the supervisor is not able to do it, it's really lacking. So we approve that. I don't know if that's gonna come to a resolution. I think it's just something we could approve, or is that gonna come as a resolution, Brian? I don't recall.
So we'll be having a conversation between staff about whether or not this requires a resolution or if it's just a requisition.
Okay, very good. But the admin committee approved it. We're good with it. We think it's the right thing to do. Did I miss anything on, oh, you're not on my committee. Oh, we're looking at you.
Jim,
On the
for
911, yes.
clarification,
Those are so close. Julie?
for clarification, the 26,000 is what was split in half, so it's actually 13 was our.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, then we had Kevin Stack in to see us, and then he came up to see finance. So I'll let you guys report out on that. It had to do with the trucks. And at the same time that Kevin was there, Todd Rainey was in to see us. And nobody ever sees Todd Rainey. He's the, well, you guys do, yeah, he's the motor pool guy. But you know, he reports to admin, but we've never seen him, but we will this year. We're gonna see him one time. But he was in with Kevin to kind of express the same concerns that Kevin has when he talks to you folks about the two trucks, the Dodge trucks, that he needs to order patrol cars for the sheriff's department. And they normally wait well into the year before they order them, because then they accept them and pay for them in the subsequent year. Well, because there's such a backlog now, that he asked permission to order patrol cars now for next year. And so we gave him the okay, knowing full well that we're not gonna accept them and not gonna pay for them until next year. And then I told him at the same time, the committee said, we'll be sure and let Brian and Doug know, especially Doug, so he doesn't go ballistic when he sees all these orders being put in now when there's no money. So we okayed that too. So I don't know if Todd was gonna come and see you folks to finance as well, but he expressed the same concern that Kevin Stack is running into. And so we told him to go ahead and proceed. Oh, Kevin Stack did bring us up to speed on an incident that involved mowing. It involved a right of way where the mowers went from the county's right of way into the city of Benton Harbor's right of way. And there was an issue there with one of the private property owners who apparently wants us to pay them some money. We reviewed that with Kevin, and basically the administration committee said, no, we're not gonna do that. I'll talk to you and Thaddeus one-on-one. They never left the right of way. They're not on private property. City of Benton Harbor's fine with it. We're fine with it. You know, I'm sorry it happened, but I don't think we're gonna pay anybody anything for that. But we'll talk about that more. And we also gave kudos to Kevin and his staff. I did, for the last snow event down in Niles Township. They did an excellent job. You know, I mean, I've expressed my frustration with them before about not getting that area done in a timely fashion. This time they did. and it was very obvious. And so I guess in fairness, when you criticize someone, you also give them kudos when they deserve it. So I gave kudos to Kevin, and I think that actually falls on Greg Trail's shoulders. I think he's the one responsible, but it was very, very much appreciated. We have resolutions coming to you next time we get together. 2201 is the repair and maintenance contract with Telrad. This is for the 911 to repair and maintain radios. It's a one-year agreement and the amount of $12,204. We have a resolution ending in 2384. This is a resolution to accept $66,000. This is through the Department of Health and Human Services and goes to the Juvenile Mental Health Program. So we approve that. So you'll see that at our next meeting. And then resolution 2200 is a resolution to apply for a grant. This is through the LEPC, the Local Emergency Planning Commission, which our very own Commissioner Volrath is chairman of. They're eligible to receive a $3,500 grant. So we authorized Chairman Volrath to sign the grant application for $3,500. And we have the Sheriff's Department through the Berrien Community Foundation. When they request money, they fill out a form. The form comes to me. I sign it. I bring it to admin so that we get it into the minutes. And so this is a distribution form from the Sheriff's Department. It's in the amount of $500, and this was used for the challenge coins for the chaplains. So that the Berrien County Community Foundation giving the $500 to the Sheriff's Department for that purpose. So we got that into the minutes. And that's our report.
Will there be a quiz later?
I just had one thing to add to that.
Yes, sir.
Mowing in Ben Harbor that, Kevin said that they went in and, when the guy first complained, the homeowner, they went in and cleaned this property up and they did everything that he asked them to the first time. And then later he says, well, I want some money to put new bushes on property that he didn't own. So that's where that came from.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, statement. Jim, your first thing that you talked about was with Shelley Jasper and NACO?
No, it was Carrie Smetanka Haney from the courts, the court administrator, not Shelley.
Oh, but didn't you say something about NACO?
I did.
Right, and my question is I thought we are not members of NACO just yet. I thought we were supposed to do reports on that over a year ago. Is there any way admin could look into that to see about the county board becoming members?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm glad you brought that up. The board might or might not remember that we looked into the Township Association, we looked into NACO and remaining members of MAC. And I think Dave was assigned to one, Terry was assigned to one, and I was assigned to one. And as priorities came around, those kept getting pushed down on the list. But yeah, I think we were favorable in our recommendations for both NACO and the townships. We're already a member of the townships. We're already a member of MAC. I think it was adding NACO, and we just never got around to it. So I would think that this would help make our decision on becoming members of NACO because of the services that they provide, and the court is going to take advantage of those services.
And the other thing I'd like to point out also, and Jim, you and I have been to NACO in DC, is the point that with all of this new grant funding that's coming together with the infrastructure bill with broadband, in which we are trying to accomplish for our constituents and our residents here, they are going to be up, I would imagine, I'm sure they are, on all the latest infrastructure bills and the grant monies and everything that are available. And we might need that information, if nothing else, for broadband. So that would be my suggestion, but thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll talk to the county administrator about that. Maybe we could move it up the list. It's only one. So thank you.
Any other questions for admin? Okay, Mr. Chair of PHS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee met this morning. We got through our items of business rather quickly. First on our list was the approval of the monthly pension refunds and rollovers. This is, if you, just a reminder, this is our individuals who have left the county's employment, and then they're taking their pension accruals and rolling them over to private vendors. So no county money is used in that rollover. We also considered 3 advanced step hires, one from Family Division for the Juvenile Center, one from Friend of Court, and then one from Animal Control. We approved all 3 of those. The individuals being hired are well qualified, and the advanced step hire request was appropriate. We also considered the per diems for the county commissioners and approved those. And then we have a number of, we have 6 different resolutions that will come to you next week. I'll go through those rather quickly. First is with Green Earth for electronics recycling. The second is with Eagle. This is for the Parks Department for solid waste planning. The third is money coming from Lara for medical marijuana counseling and guidance. The fourth is for a telehealth system. They're getting a grant. The health department's getting a grant for $95,000 to implement that for individuals using services from the health department, but are unable to come into the office. The fifth is money coming from the state of Michigan. This is for the Emerging Threats program. This includes not just lead, but any other things that might get brought up. And then the sixth that we'll bring to you is administrative fees for the health department. So that will be on your agenda next week. We also talk about the administrator evaluation process. We've compiled those. Shelley has done a great job compiling all the commissioner responses. So we're going to use the process that we used with Mr. Wolf when he was evaluated, where I'll sit with Mr. Doucette, review the results of that, and then we'll work through the committee on committees and get that wrapped up here in the next couple of weeks. So that we'll also rework some of the guidance for the commission in the future as they go through evaluating the administrator. Then I know you're all waiting on pins and needles. We'll work with the evaluation process for Mr. Doucette for 2022. Then we'll start work for our corporate counsel so that we can have a process for him. And then last but not least, we'll work on the board bylaws and rules. And so you can expect a great deal of fun to be encountered with that. I would be glad to answer any questions you might have for me or the committee members. And gentlemen, does that cover pretty much what we did?
Yes, Jim.
Yes, Jim.
No.
Ask Jim.
Any questions for Personnel and Human Services? All right, Madam Chair of Finance.
Thank you. Our first visitor was Chris Swihart, the Director of Information Systems. And it's about copier lease, and I'd ask Commissioner Scott to report to us on that.
This went fairly fast. This was for an RFP 2021-052. So that was back in October. We had opened the bids and we had sent them back to the department for their purview to check specifications and then report to us and go with the lowest bidder, report to us on why they couldn't go with the lowest bidder. He came back today because it was on his to-do list, but he was predisposed with the 911 situation that took precedent over copiers. So there were 5 bidders. and he has gone over everything. He wants to go with Applied Image, who we currently have. It's a total of $443.60 over the lowest bid, but the lowest bid does not include fax boards as an option, and they would need to be purchased for the existing equipment, which would definitely impact and be more than the $443.60. So we approved him to go into negotiations with Applied Imaging for these copiers, and these are copiers all over the county in all the different, a lot of different departments. Some of them are nearly 8 years old, so they need to be replaced. And right now we're without a copier lease since April of 2019. I guess we can say COVID, and I can blame all kinds of things, but this is something that has to get taken care of. So we were very comfortable with it. So we sent it on its way. The report, Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to say they are the provider that we're using now. So they're very much pleased with the response when they need them. And he'll come back to us, and we'll come back to you all with this. We were concerned about how are you going to get rid of all these copiers that you have? You're going to have them side by side. And there are a number of ways, a number of things we'll do. There's some people that are saying we would like to buy a lot. LOT, I don't mean like many. I mean, like some multiple units. So it's being worked on. Then we opened a bid for ammunition for the sheriff's department. And Sheriff Bailey was in with us, and we sent out to 4 companies and 3 responded. One was Vance Outdoors of Columbus, Ohio. Their bid was $79,980. The other one was Kaiser Police Supply, Jeffersonville, Indiana. Their bid was $74,550.75. And the last one was Texas Armament and Technology of Houston, Texas, and their bid was $56,760. And so these will be looked over, and hopefully the sheriff can come to us with the lowest bid. If not, he'll come back to the finance department and we'll see what else needs to be done. Then our financial analyst, Jake Lediker, works with us. And I'd like to say that we have so many questions and forms and things that we use. And our road department director, Kevin Stack, put together a new template for us. It's a lot of stuff, but today we were opening bids for aggregate. And what I'd like to say is a lot of companies, many of these, we sent them out to about 12 companies, and 4 responded or 3 responded. And so know that there are prices that are given to us, and the prices include delivering it to specific yards, so that in Waterville or in Benton Harbor or in Niles, Buchanan area, whatever, they're delivered there. Some had an alternate price where you could go to a certain pit and pick it up ourselves. So it's kind of going to be up to Kevin Stack how they do it. But all the prices, we have them enough to choose from. And I can tell you that Kalen Construction bid it, Michiana Aggregate, Northern Construction, and Stoneco of Michigan. That's in Middleville, Michigan. So it's very interesting, and we're learning a lot. And one of the bids that we had was on pipe for culverts. I'm just learning all kinds of things, but they really put it together. They buy certain inches, and they have couplers that they connected with, and just a lot of things are going on. We're ready. We will be ready when the time comes. So these bids are given back to the road department, and they choose and decide what they're going to do. If they can go with the lower price, then that's fine. If they need to do something else, they will come back to finance with that. And then we had waivers. The waivers we had was, this is about those vehicles. We have a truck and it needs a motor. And so I guess over the computer, Brian, you can help me or you all know, they listened to the motor running so that they could know that it would work, because they're going to have to go and pick it up. But in our garage with our employees, they can put this motor back in the truck, which the body is still good. And it'll be about $7,500. Whereas a new truck, we can't get one.
No,
We
you
can't
can't
get
get
any
one and
trucks.
significantly higher.
Right,
Staff is
right.
just trying to squeeze some additional miles out of an existing truck.
right. So they really work and take good care of and use good things that we do. Another thing that we bidded on was rehab of 2 existing hot asphalt boxes. Then Kaiser Chrysler Center, a Dodge 1-ton truck chassis. The budgeted amount was $120,000. The waiver amount is $128,300. All vehicles are hard to get and they're expensive and it's gonna take a while, to the point where I think last or 2 weeks ago, we were ordering 4 and they said they had 5. So we said, get the other one. And so that's the kinds of things are what we're in. So when they're talking about auto department, talking about order cars, it needs to happen because of so much that we do, we cannot move without it. We accepted the minutes. We did the road payables, approved the weekly bills, and that's all I know. Thank you. Anything else?
Busy.
Yeah.
Questions for finance? All right, moving on then to commissioner reports. John, you want to start?
Just briefly, I had a planning commission meeting for the county, and there were a couple of text amendments that came through, one from Bainbridge Township, Lincoln Charter Township. Lincoln Charter was interesting because it's about eco-friendly dwelling, and they are putting some of that language into their ordinances. And then we also had a rezoning that came before the planning commission for New Buffalo Township along Ritter Highway and Community Hall Road, Commissioner Scott. And then the one thing I wanted to highlight just briefly is we are doing work on the master plan for the county. And so we had Williams and Works here working through some of the stakeholder reports that we had received from the meetings that we had, I don't know, probably 2 months ago, and kind of just going through that and seeing what priorities kind of rose between all of those different groups that we met with, and trying to see how that also aligns with what work we've been doing with our strategic initiatives for the county board itself. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
I attended the polar plunge that we talked about at the committee of the whole, and so my compliments to the prosecutor's office as well as the sheriff's department. Collectively, I think you've heard that they raised over $85,000 for Special Olympics, and that was sponsored by Watermark in Stevensville. I also attended the Human Services Council meeting, so virtually met with the representatives from the various nonprofit organizations in the county. And I also had a meeting with Jonas Peterson. He's the new executive director of Southwest Michigan First. And so his message was collaboration with all the economic developers throughout Southwest Michigan. And that would conclude my report.
Thank you.
So you guys have probably already received an email from me, a forwarded invite from the Boys and Girls Club. They would like the entire board to participate in a virtual tour of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southwest Michigan. And so that will take place February 23rd.
Excuse me, talk a little louder, please.
Sure. So the Boys and Girls Club, they reached out to me to invite the full board to participate in a virtual tour of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southwest Michigan. That will take place February 23rd, which is a Wednesday at 12 p.m. It's about a half hour. And so I forwarded the Zoom invite to you all. They are looking forward to us joining them. Secondly, I've been talking with the different municipalities within my district about what we're doing to address broadband infrastructure as a county. And I've been talking with St. Joseph Township trustee board, and they brought up some interesting points that I think the county should sort of have a conversation about, and that is, what are we doing not only to bridge the gap in connecting all those to broadband services, but addressing disparities among low-income families who may not have access to broadband. If we are kind of looking to maybe subsidize costs for those who don't have access. And so I told them that I would bring that up before the full board to see what we're doing there. But otherwise, they are happy to see that we are addressing those needs, and they are looking forward to what we're going to do in the future. Thirdly, I've been talking with the Berrien Immigrant Solidarity Network and Southwest Michigan Interfaith Action. They would like to see the county maybe lend some support, maybe as a collective voice towards some bills that are in the state legislature regarding immigrant access to driver's license. They believe that that will protect, law enforcement officers who, would do a traffic stop and may come across someone who may be an immigrant who may not have an operating license. And so they would like to see the Berrien County Board of Commissioners and law enforcement community, as well as business owners, kind of lend a voice of support to send it to our state representative to vote yes on a bill that's currently in the state legislature. So that concludes my report.
What's that number?
I am not sure. I would have to bring it up.
Thank you. Jim?
No report.
Dave? Julie?
Real quick, there's a trail survey out there right now, so if you haven't received it, please let me know. I'll be happy to forward it to you directly. But please complete that and pass it on if you would to your townships, to anybody you may know personally as well. The more people that respond to that survey, the better the trails master plan will become.
Very good. Thank you.
No report.
Michael?
I have no report, but there's a brownfield meeting at 1:30.
Thank you.
The only thing I have to report on is I probably won't be on the board when this comes up, so I'd like to make the nomination now to make Commissioner Harrison the board's representative for next year's Polar Plunge. He's the only one with the experience. He's been the only one of us that have been there, and I would just like that put on the record. Thank you, and no more report.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought he was volunteering.
I'll do it this summer in June.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have to dress up like Richard Simmons?
No, no, not gonna happen.
All right. Mamie?
Yes, I really have no report, but I said earlier, I'll go and be by the fire. When you all come in, because I'm not planning. Thank you. I have no report.
All right, very good. Mr. Administrator, something about committee of the whole schedule?
Yeah, so a couple of items for everyone here's agenda, or your calendar rather. February 17th, Committee of the Whole is going to be a lengthy presentation. We'll have the first of a couple of reports from Evan Marsh Pearson. This is for the building assessment that has been going on over the past several months. So I would anticipate anywhere between, at the light end, 45 minutes, more than likely up to an hour and a half. That would occur on the 17th at your 8:35 meeting. The second would be on March 3rd. And the reason for the delay is they are still going through buildings. They have yet to complete all of the site assessments and then create the narrative and the whole presentation file. So just please keep those on your calendars. Parks workshop. We'll have Julie, Mamie, and Bob. That will occur on the 15th. That's next week, so February 15th at 4 p.m. Parks Department is working with the Parks Commission to roll out the Silver Beach Improvement Plan. And our goal is to get Parks Commission either very, very comfortable with that plan and ready to adopt the plan, or make your edits, bless you, make your edits now with the intent of rolling that into the overall capital plan that Abby Marsh Pearson is working on.
We meet at 3:30.
Oh, I said 4. You're right.
Okay. It's a Wednesday. Huh?
It's the 15th, which I thought was Tuesday. Yeah. And then lastly is your committee of the whole on, I apologize, the 24th. I'm requesting that the board allow us to cancel that committee of the whole. That would be February the 24th in 2 weeks. I don't think that there would be any major pushback, but we're going to be reloading between the 17th and 3rd on getting items ready for you all. And with respect, if this board is comfortable, you would just have your committees and then the regular meeting.
Right. Yeah, and if it's so light that we don't have anything that we really need to do that week, to the dismay and disappointment of our staff, we might just cancel the 24th and then start up again in March.
Because it's 5 Thursdays or something?
No, it's 4, but 4 is the next thing to 5.
Yeah.
And so, yes, yes,
We really been meeting a lot.
yeah,
Mr. Chair, it appears that there's tears running down the face of Annette. so,
yes, I know. Oh, there is?
uh,
At the full board meeting.
Oh, okay.
Or it has to be like-
Well, sure.
But we could not buy anything. That's a committee thing.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a different topic.
Okay, well, let me do something first because I'll forget. Committee, the 8:35 meeting next week. After we start, I may have to run down the street to the courthouse for finalizing a divorce that's in front of Judge Mayfield at 9. If the parties haven't signed everything already, I'll have to run down there and do that and then come back. Terry?
This might be better under other business, but I wanted to just address Commissioner Bell's question about affordability from the perspective of a broadband initiative.
Now
Is now okay?
Sure.
Okay. So one of the components that the federal government has done is there's a program called the Affordable Connectivity Program. It used to be the Emergency Broadband Program. I forget what the actual acronym is. And so one of the things with the American Rescue Plan funds is any dollars that are spent on deploying broadband initiatives has to have an affordability component in there. And with this Affordable Connected program, it's a $30 credit that a person can apply to from their provider. And the providers are to participate or have something like this available for individuals to participate in and take part of. And it is based on the poverty level, and the poverty level threshold that is set is like 200% of the poverty level. And so like a family of 4 would be $55,000 annual. And so that's the $200,000 threshold or 200% threshold for them. And then they would qualify for that. Yeah, just to let you know, and I forward you a link to that. And we're also working on having that under the broadband page on our county website, so that people can have access to that and be informed. Thank you.
May I just add
Thank
to
you.
that?
Sure.
It's going on right now and it's on every internet. If you have internet and you apply for it, it shows up there, you just apply for it.
Oh, you see it already?
It's already going off.
I threw away my back page in the recycling bin. Is public comments next?
Before we wrap,
Annette?
Just a reminder that if you have not signed up for the MAC conference, please do that before you leave today with me so that I can get that done. I'm going to be in and out over the next 2 weeks, and so I'd like to try to get that taken care of before I leave today. Thank you.
So anybody who wants to go, let her know. If we're done with that and done with your report, we'll go to general public comments. Anything under the sun in 2 minutes or less. Yes, sir. Name and where you're from.
Sure, thank you very much. Peter Clovis, Prairie Real Estate Group.
Microphone there.
Start the clock. Peter Clovis, Prairie Real Estate Group, Hager Township trustee. So what I'm here for today is to talk about broadband. What I'd like to do is connect the dots. I want to first thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioners, for allowing me to speak. Now, on behalf of Hager Township, I've got an issue. And the issue is that we're lacking in a strategy. Now, let's start from the beginning. On the connecting the dots part of this, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm not running for office, and I want to make sure that everybody knows the staff's done this job. But I think this commission needs to be spoken to it as a body relative to how it relates to townships. Because right now, the way I look at the ARPA funds in particular, we have a flawed model. Now, this is going to be very unpopular, and it's not going to sound like sanity coming out of my mouth. But right now, I think there needs to be a complete reshape and rethink of what's going on with the ARPA monies in the bucket that you guys have assigned for the amount of money that is going to come out of the county's 30 million relative to all the townships. So why is that? Well, first of all, I'm not exactly sure how that number was derived, which means immediately knowing full well that we now see the applications, and now that we've got one application in already for 700,000, we're going to be running out of money. So here's the problem: who's gonna be the winner and loser, and is this board going to pick it? Are you guys going to pick that? Are you guys going to make that decision on who's getting their money, or is there going to be another committee that does it? Because if you're picking winners and losers, this is going to be a miserable outcome. I got bad news for you. If I would suggest, if it was up to me, that you don't do that. Now, I understand we've got an application in already, and I'm not throwing Orinoco under the bus. I am not. And I understand that we need to wire up the east side of the county. I get
2 minutes, sir.
and there's a strategy. But right now, think about it. The fourth utility, it needs to be for everybody, and you guys need to be fair and equitable about this across the county. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm back with a shorter speech. I'm Annie Brown, and I'm running for state representative of the 30th House District. I've lived in South Haven for 35 years, and my husband and I raised our 3 kids there, and we started, owned, and operated our own small business for 20 years. I'm running for state representative to fight for the concerns and issues that we all share: clean drinking water, internet connectivity, supporting law enforcement, and helping municipalities with what they need when they're facing bluff erosion and high water levels. My background includes working for 2 U.S. senators. Most recently, I was the West Michigan Regional Coordinator for U.S. Senator Gary Peters. I worked up and down the line talking to voters in 14 counties and listening to families, and that includes Berrien County. One reason I'm running is because I'm concerned about small cities who are pushed on the back burner and ignored sometimes by Lansing. I'm running to make sure that all people in Berrien County have a voice in Lansing, a seat at the table, and a state representative who shows up. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
I'm Sean Hill. I live in the city of St. Joe. I just wanted to throw out a public compliment to the Berrien Springs Public Schools. This past week, they got brave, and they're leading our community as far as braveness goes with the school systems. They had mask optional before, but this past week they dropped the quarantines too. felt it wasn't part of their deal. And I commend them for that. And I publicly want to state that. Second of all, I went to the health department meeting last week, Wednesday, when it was a blizzard. Yes, I was the only one in the crowd, but I made it. And Guy Miller had a really nice, shoot, man, maybe it was 10 pages laid out on the COVID-19 update. And from 2019 to January 2022, he had some graphs that he was showing some of the sicknesses and everything like that. One of them in particular was figure number 6. On that one, what caught my eye was the 0 to 19-year-olds. As far as deaths in our community, 0. And I said, here's the science right here. So why are you recommending to the schools yet face masks and quarantines? Because he's still doing that. And I know where my daughter goes to St. Joe Public Schools, they're still rolling with that. And I don't understand when the older community, older people in this community are the ones who are affected the most, but we're punishing our kids by making them wear masks. Does this make any sense? I mean, to anybody? The older folks, they're walking around communities, they're going out, doing their thing, restaurants, whatever they want to do. But it's our kids that we have the mask on in the schools. And our Berrien County Health Department guy is recommending that they wear the mask in the quarantines.
2 minutes, sir.
Somebody needs to pick up the phone and say something, please. This is out of hand. Even the governors of Democratic states
Thank
are.
you.
You let him go over.
And I let you go
Even the
over, too.
Democratic source, they're seeing the writing on the wall. So they're dropping the mask. I mean, come on.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, Matt Kirkus, New Buffalo. All right, so for the virus, I promote Dr. Sam Bailey, and we have quercetin. That's another great one you should look at. So I time myself, I should be about 2 minutes. Cayenne Paula Medio spoon feeds woke children. She writes for New America and appeals to our morality and condemns individualism to argue we need more state intrusion. Quote, policy design that successfully merges the public and private realms of life. This is the agenda, which means it's your agenda. Meanwhile, you sit in power knowing your duties within the Federal Reserve System involve commerce and employee management. New Buffalo School now has a bank equipped with slave laborers who arrive early to manage it. Yet another example of your inaction and inability to protect citizens, let alone the most vulnerable. Somebody in power believes children should learn firsthand the bondage of usury and materialism before they learn free will. You paved the way for anarchists and modern Marxists to reject the Declaration of Independence. You and these conservative cops stand idle while the regime prosecutes victimless crimes. The regime refuses to conduct an Article 3 court and recognize its 9th Amendment limitations. You caused lifetime trauma on a church group of children when you brought militarized police to the skating rink. We know the pseudo-scientific hoax is climate change is next. You yourselves are steeped in cognitive dissonance while you still have trace amounts of culture and critical thinking skills. Your morality is not welcome in the metaverse. Sadly, the egocentric individuals that compromise this society deserve the hardships that approach. The masses choose ignorance for the temporary and menial comforts of today. But have you lifted restrictions for the poor? We'll skip that because I do have a point. I want laws that protect our right to collect rainwater, keep chickens, perhaps live on our land without utilities if we choose to, and perhaps limit or you don't enforce the federal agencies such as the Health Department and the DNR from trespassing on our rights. In Oakland, California, big city progressives made a way to legalize RVs and tiny homes on private property. So my point is, what have you done?
2 minutes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir. We've never seen you before, so please tell us your
I
name
wasn't
and
here
where you're
last
from.
Okay, Pelzer, Hager Township. I know that guy there. But anyway, last time I was here, I asked you guys to give me something in writing as why you closed off those public restrooms. Where is it? There's another fine example of politicians ignoring the masses. And I also want to say something to support that gentleman right there. No, I taught high school for 33 years. Now, the most mature people out there are the kids that are 16, 17, 18, and 19. They are mature. No, they are the healthiest people out there, and we are making them walk around with a stupid mask on and having shots. No, they're just like a new car. What can go wrong with a new car? Hardly, that's why we buy a new car. Nothing goes wrong with it. The same way with these kids. This is a crime. This is a sin. This is stupid. You know, nobody thought that through except Miller or whoever that guy is over there. There's the proof right there. And still we're making those kids wear that silly mask, which really doesn't help that much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peltzer. Yes, ma'am.
All right. He knows that. Okay.
Time's running out.
Well, I don't have to say too much time. Melissa Clapper, St. Joe Charter Township, science is science. Darien Springs had their reasons for doing that. What they decide to do, according to your own words, shouldn't be forced on everyone else. Same thing with everything else. Guy has stuff, 16, 17-year-olds. As one of the old people that you're referring to, who's taking care of an even older person, that's 93. I wear a mask because I know it's a safe thing to do and that I have to be respectful of my elders. And having taught also only the little ones, yes, they are healthy too, but we need to do everything we can to keep them healthy. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Would anyone else wish to be heard under public comment? Okay.
I'm just going out, not me.
Oh, all right. All right. Other business. Anyone have any? Yes, ma'am.
I was hoping Ryan would be here. Did he leave the room?
He'll be right back. He went to get Shelley.
I had sent a note earlier this week to the health department because in light of the country's changing these mask mandates and within the state, number of counties changing them, I wanted to find out where our county stood and when that was being looked at or reviewed.
Okay. All right, Ezra.
I forgot on my commissioner report. I'm so sorry. I had the honor of being with our new corporate counsel for his first sewage and septic appeals board hearing, and it was impressive. It really was, and he wants to learn more.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Very excited.
Very excited. Yes. Had to mention that.
Thank you. Any other business? While we're waiting for Shelley, there she is. Announcements and reminders were closed Monday for President's Day. That's the 21st. And I think that's the only one I'm aware of. Does anyone have anything else? Okay, then if not, it's time to hold this meeting in abeyance and go into closed session to discuss collective bargaining.